A lady recently stayed at her friend Henry's house.
As one normally does.
A week later, they tested the basement for radon and found elevated levels. Awesome, because a little lung cancer never killed anyone, right? Now, radon is a colorless, odorless, completely undetectable gas. You could be breathing it right now and have absolutely no idea. It's the #1 cause of lung cancer in non-smokers, responsible for around 21,000 deaths a year in the United States alone. No smell, no taste, no symptoms, just years of silent damage. Radon kills more people every year than drunk driving, and most of them never knew it was there. Radon is a direct decay product of radium, and radium is a decay product of uranium, and we all know about uranium. But radium, the middle of that chain, once had people convinced it was the secret to eternal health. To understand radium, we need to go back to 1896. A French physicist named Henri Becquerel had just discovered that uranium naturally emitted mysterious invisible rays. Nobody knew what they were or where they came from. Then a young Polish scientist named Marie Curie became obsessed with finding out. Working in a cramped, leaky shed in Paris with her husband Pierre, she noticed something strange. Pitchblende, the raw ore that uranium came from, was significantly more radioactive than pure uranium alone, which meant something else had to be hiding inside it. So they processed it, tons of it, by hand, in that same leaky shed. Sounds safe to me. After years of grueling work, they finally isolated it. A new element, more than 1,000,000 times more radioactive than uranium. They named it radium, from the Latin word for ray. She carried samples of it in her pockets. She kept test tubes of it on her bedside table because she loved the way it glowed in the dark. Her notebooks are still so radioactive today that they are kept in lead-lined boxes in Paris, and visitors must sign a waiver just to look at them. She did die in 1934 from radiation exposure. But before that, manufacturers saw an opportunity. Radium was soon to be available to everyone. One company in particular was run by Dr. William John Bailey, and we use the term doctor very loosely. Bailey had attended Harvard for 3 semesters, just under 2 years, before dropping out. He later gave himself a doctorate from a European university that nobody could verify, kind of the definition of a con man. He had the brilliant idea to start selling radioactive water. The water itself was called radither. Each half-ounce bottle contained 2 microcuries of radium. To put that in perspective, that means 74,000 radioactive decay events happening inside that tiny bottle every single second. Bailey guaranteed it on the label, like it was a selling point. Bailey claimed it could cure over 150 different conditions. Low energy, radither. High blood pressure, radither. Digestive problems, radither. Impotence.
I am not impotent!
Over 400,000 bottles were sold worldwide, and doctors were prescribing it, partly because Bailey was paying them a 17% kickback for every bottle they recommended. Enter Eben Byers, wealthy Pittsburgh socialite, U.S. amateur golf champion, and by all accounts a picture of health and vitality. In 1927, he fell off a train bunk on the way to a football game and injured his arm. His doctor recommended radither for the pain. Byers became completely convinced it worked. He started drinking multiple bottles a day. Over the next 3 years, he consumed somewhere between 1,000 and 1,400 bottles of radioactive water. But here is the problem with drinking radium. Once swallowed, radium behaves like calcium in the body. Your bones cannot tell the difference, so they absorb it willingly, pulling the radium directly into your skeletal tissue thinking it is a nutrient. And once it is in there, it does not leave. It just sits inside your bones, firing radiation outward into your cells every single second, slowly destroying everything from the inside. There is no treatment. There is no way to remove it. Your own skeleton becomes the enemy. Eben Byers had been drinking this for 3 years. His bones began to dissolve from the inside. Holes formed in his skull. His jaw had to be removed entirely. He lost over 40 pounds and actually shrank in height as his skeleton deteriorated. A Wall Street Journal reporter who visited him near the end described him as having barely a little of him left. He died in April 1932. He was 51 years old. Bayer's death made national headlines. The Wall Street Journal ran the story under the headline, "The radium water worked fine until his jaw fell off." Bailey's company was shut down. He was never charged, never tried, never held accountable for a single death. In fact, he went on to found another company selling radioactive products. He died wealthy in 1949, 17 years after Eben Byers. If you are feeling bad for Eben, you should know that our friend Dr. Bailey also drank radioactive heavily and developed very similar problems. Turns out radioactive water does not care about your fake European doctorate. And radon does not care either. It is still sitting in basements across the country right now. Colorless, odorless, undetectable. The same radioactive decay chain that Marie Curie was studying in a leaky shed in Paris is happening under your feet at this very moment. Please get your basement tested. Thanks, Henry.